This month on Taal Tails, Divination on Divination. Hello, Taal Mode here, and I've been doing a lot of divination today, as I do most days, and have done since I was a child, really. And yet today, what I'm reflecting on is that I'm still pretty much at my edge every time in terms of understanding, what it is and how divination works and why divination works. And, I guess that's part of the job. If you're interfacing between the human realm and the divine realm, you're not going to understand it all the time, and that's fine. But it is a constant growing and learning process. And sometimes the answers are not as clean as one would like from a system of making things meaningful. Today's a great example. My main divination practice that I do these days is horary astrology, which is when you take the chart for the time and place where you're currently sitting when somebody asks you a question, and you use the sky where you, the astrologer, are right now to answer their question. And I've been doing this publicly for about 6 months or so, having taken a course in it last year, and you studied the foundations of astrology a year before that, and as I said, been doing various forms of divination since I was a kid. But the thing that distinguishes horary from the stuff I've done before is that there's very clear procedures and rules about how to do it, which is why you have to study it for so long before you can start, really, or before you can do it for clients, let's say, who are trusting you to answer the question. And one of the ways I work on that trust is I post my results on my website, taalumo.space/writing for the blog, where you'll find them. And I keep track of how many I get right and how many I get wrong, because that's the kind of thing it is. Somebody asks you a question and there's a clear answer. And for the most part, it's possible to determine when the event in question happens, whether the judgment was right or wrong. And I've got about 78 to 80% of them right at any given time. It fluctuates as they come in, and that feels pretty good to me, well worth continuing to do and continuing to offer to people, which I do at a rate that I feel is reasonable and reflects, the possibility that nobody's perfect and I can get things wrong. And sometimes I do. But every time I get one wrong, so far, I have been able to figure out why. And it's because I missed something, or I applied one of these clear rules incorrectly. But each time I get a chart back that's wrong, I have this kind of crisis moment where I'm like, oh, what did I do wrong? What did I miss? And if I can't find it, if I can't figure it out, that's much worse than understanding what I did wrong. Because if I don't know what went wrong, then astrology didn't work that time, right? So today I had one of those charts where I was like, what happened here? And I spent hours on it. I asked a bunch of my astrology friends. None of them could figure it out. And in sort of looking at the additional information I got from my client and their response telling me that it was wrong, I came up with a theory. I tried it. It looked like it worked. And I was like, oh, what a relief. I figured it out. But I had no way of knowing, or I felt like I had no way of knowing, whether I was just retroactively applying this idea to try and bail myself out here, whether it applied, in a way that was principled or not. And I decided to roll the astro dice to see whether, a different angle of divination could give me an answer. And astro dice, if you don't know, are a set of 12-sided dice that have astrological placements on them. One die has signs, one has houses, and one has the planets and the nodes. And so I asked the dice, did I get this right? Did I figure it out? And the dice showed Venus in Taurus in the 5th, which, if you don't know astrology, those things go together very well. Venus is in domicile in Taurus. It's one of the signs that Venus rules, and she rejoices in the 5th house. The 5th house is the house that's of Venus's nature. So a fairly improbable roll that all 3 of the dice would show me something very, first of all, positive, but also harmonious like that. So that was enough for me. I let that divination on my divination sort of settle it, and I called it that I figured it out. And so, onward we go. Astrology remains in place for now. Please visit taalumot.space for divination on your stuff.